Today I want to share a story about a king and his servant, and the servant had skin disease. And by the end of the story, we're going to see how God heals the skin disease and the faith of the servant and trusting that God could fulfill his promise. And so the story takes place in 2 Kings chapter 5 verses 1 through 19. And Naaman is kind of a key character in this story. He's the commander of this army for the king of Aram, and he's a man who is not only important to his master, King Aram, but he's also highly regarded by this king of Aram because Naaman was a man who God had used to give victory to Aram. So Naaman is this hero in King Aram's eyes, and so he's very highly regarded. Now Naaman is this valiant warrior. He's this mighty warrior, and he has this skin disease, and the skin disease is just affecting the quality of his life. And the king of Aram, after hearing that a prophet in Samaria could hear Naaman of his skin disease, he sends this letter with Naaman, and he also sends 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, and he sends 10 sets of clothing to the king of Israel. So he sends Naaman on this journey to the king of Israel so that Naaman could be healed of his skin disease. And he sends him with this high cost to give to the king of Israel, in addition to this letter that read, "When this letter comes to you, note that I have sent you my servant Naaman for you to cure him of his skin disease." Now, the king of Israel, upon opening this letter, upon receiving these items, he becomes furious, and he tears his clothes. And he says, Am I God, killing and giving life? Do I have the power to heal Naaman of his skin disease? And he gets offended by this letter from the king of Aram, and he thinks that the king is simply picking a fight with him by his asking him to heal Naaman of his skin disease. Now, when Elijah, he's the prophet and this man of God, and he hears that the king of Israel had torn his clothes and that he was furious, Elijah goes to the king and he says, "Send him to me." And so Naaman comes to Elijah, and Elijah sends a messenger who tells Naaman, "Go wash 7 times in the Jordan, and your skin will be restored, and you will be clean." And so one would think that Naaman would go at this point and just excitedly take him up on his offer and go wash, and 7 times, simple command, go and do it and be clean and be healed of your skin disease. But that's not how Naaman responds. In the story, we see Naaman gets angry. He's angry. "Are you kidding me? I thought for sure that I'd go to Elijah, I'd go to this prophet, this man of God, and he would call out the name of the Lord, and he'd wave his hand over the place, and he'd cure my skin disease. And now you're telling me that I have to go wash in the Jordan 7 times? Are you kidding me? Aren't the rivers of Damascus greater than any waters of Israel? I could have just stayed back and washed in them and left clean of this disease." And he left in this rage. He storms off. But his servants pursued Naaman, and they challenged him, saying, "Hey, this prophet told you to do this. Would you not do this?" He says, "Go wash in 7 times in the Jordan. Would you not do that?" And so he does. Naaman goes to the Jordan. He dips himself in it 7 times. And just as God had promised through the prophet of Elijah, his skin is restored. It becomes like the skin of a small boy. No more skin disease. Naaman is healed miraculously by God's grace. And Naaman was so grateful, he wanted to give a gift to Elijah, but Elijah wouldn't accept it. Even so, Naaman continues to urge him to accept the gift, but Elijah continues to refuse. Instead, Naaman responds by saying to Elijah that he will commit to no longer offering a burnt sacrifice or a sacrifice to any other god or any other Lord but the Lord. And so Naaman asks, in addition to this, because he realizes that King Aman, he's going to have to bow down next to King Aman, and he's going to have to worship, or while King Aman is worshiping, he's going to be bowing down before another god. And so he asks Elijah, he says, hey, look, when I'm in this moment, when King Aman is bowing down and he's got his arm over my shoulder, would God forgive me in that moment? Would he pardon me in this matter? And Elijah looked at Naaman and said, go in peace. You can rest easy. You don't have to worry about that. God will pardon you because of your faithfulness. And that's what we see in this story at the conclusion. And Naaman goes, cured of his skin disease, back to his homeland, back to King Amen.